17th, 2020, 8:52 p.m. Eastern Time. So let's talk about some finance. I know. Okay, Bank Secrecy Act, Anti-Money Laundering, and Office of Foreign Assets Control. Introduction to the Bank Secrecy Act. I'm not going to read that much. Here we go. The Financial Record Keeping and Reporting of Currency and Foreign Transaction Act of 1970 is referred to as the Bank Secrecy Act, BSA. The purpose of the BSA is to require United States financial institutions to maintain appropriate records and file certain reports involving currency transactions in the financial institution's customer relationships. Currency transaction reports and suspicious activity reports are the primary means used by banks to satisfy the requirements of the BSA. The record-keeping regulations also include a requirement that a financial institution's records be sufficient to enable transactions and activity in customer accounts to be reconstructed if necessary. In doing so, a paper and audit trail is maintained. These records and reports have a high degree of usefulness in criminal, tax, or regulatory investigations or proceedings. What is a currency transaction report, do you ask? A currency transaction report is a bank form used in the United States to help prevent instances of money laundering. This form must be filled out by a bank representative who has a customer requesting to deposit or withdraw a currency transaction greater than $10,000. It is part of the banking industry's anti-money laundering, or AML, responsibilities. What is a suspicious activity report? A suspicious activity report is a tool provided under the Bank Secrecy Act, or BSA, of 1970 for monitoring suspicious activities that would not ordinarily be flagged under the report, such as the currency transaction report. The SAR became the standard form to report suspicious activity in 1996. Suspicious activity reports can cover almost any activity that is out of the ordinary. An activity may be included in the suspicious activity report if the activity gives rise to a suspicion that the account holder is attempting to hide something or make an illegal transaction. Now, those definitions that I just gave you came from Investopedia. Investopedia is very good, by the way. So if you want a Cliff Notes understanding of a definition of a word or whatever when it comes to finance, investing, obviously, Investopedia. All right. So let's go back to the document that I read the summarization of in a previous audio clip. Department of the Treasury, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, Title 31, Code of Federal Regulations, Parts 1010 and 1020. Threshold for the requirement to collect, retain, and transmit information on funds transfers and transmittals of funds that begin or end outside the United States, and clarification of the requirement to collect, retain, and transmit information on transactions involving convertible virtual currencies and digital assets with legal tender status. So, the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System will be referred to as the Board. The Financial Crimes Enforcement Network will be referred to as FinCEN, and also involved within this document is the Treasury, United States Treasury Department. I'm only going to read the summary. The Board and FinCEN, collectively the agencies, are issuing this proposed rule to modify the threshold and the rule implementing the Bank Secrecy Act, requiring financial institutions to collect and retain information on certain funds, transfers, and transmittals of funds. The proposed modification would reduce this threshold from $3,000 to $250 for funds, transfers, and transmittals of funds that begin or end outside the United States. FinCEN is likewise proposing to reduce from $3,000 to $250 the threshold on the rule requiring financial institutions to transmit to other financial institutions in the payment chain information on funds transfers and transmittals of funds that begin or end outside the United States. The agencies are also proposing to clarify the meaning of money, in quotes, as used in these same rules to ensure that the rules apply to domestic and cross-border transactions involving convertible virtual currency, CVC, which is a medium of exchange such as cryptocurrency that either has an equivalent value as currency or acts as a substitute for currency but lacks legal tender status. The agencies further propose to clarify that these rules apply to domestic and cross-border transactions involving digital assets that have legal tender status. Okay, so the World Economic Forum, I know we keep hearing about them. You might want to look them up. Released a report in January of this year, Central Bank Digital Currency Policy Maker Toolkit, Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Very interesting. On page 17, the section 4, Digital Payments Ecosystem and Landscape Evaluation. It says, in this section, the policymaker considers whether and how the domestic international digital currency and payments ecosystems influence decisions around CBDC. CBDC is central bank digital currency. So they have a flow chart, or a graphic, if you will. And in the second part of this graphic, most relevant for wholesale CBDC, what they're looking for is when all of these countries create their central bank digital currencies, in order for them to get these funds to go back and forth from countries, they're going to need a bridge. And in this discussion of a bridge, they bring up some very interesting things, innovations in existing legacy market infrastructures. Listen, these people already understand blockchain. They already understand cryptocurrency. That's why Brian Brooks, who used to work for Coinbase, which is one of the companies that you can purchase cryptocurrency from or through, Steve Mnuchin, the head of our Treasury Department, hired him. He is now the acting director of the comptroller of the currency, and he is working very hard. So that's why they hired him. So they mentioned Swift. They mentioned JPM coin, JP Morgan. So they got a coin of their own. So does Microsoft. So does Facebook. And they mentioned XRP, which is also called Ripple, which you can go buy right now through Coinbase and other platforms. You can even go get you a hardware wallet where you can control your own cryptocurrency. So like Tezor or Ledger, those are the main two. Tezor, Tezor, or Ledger, Ledger. That way you ain't got to worry about keeping it through Coinbase, which is, it's sort of like you become your own bank in a crypto way. All right, and then they mentioned utility settlement coin. So it's here to stay. It is what it is, and you have a document. It was actually I believe it was a talk that took place on September 23rd of this year. Payments and the pandemic. Okay, the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland, 4th District, Loretta J. Mester. It was a keynote speech, 20th anniversary Chicago Payment Symposium. All right. In this document, she mentions something that they are creating right now called FedNow. I will read some of the portion of this symposium. The Federal Reserve's FedNow service, which is currently being built, this is what she said, will be an around-the-clock service whereby payments can be originated, cleared, and settled within seconds. The service is expected to provide clear public benefits in the form of safety, efficiency, and accessibility of instant payments. Yesterday, my colleagues Ken Montgomery provided an excellent overview of FedNow features and functions, so let me touch upon a few points about how we'll be rolling the service out. Well, while COVID-19 has affected many parts of the payment system, it has not slowed down our work on FedNow. Our goal is to bring FedNow to market as soon as practically possible. The target release date remains 2023 or 2024. Trust me, folks, it'll be before that. Anyway, but we will announce a more specific time frame. You see that? A more specific time frame once additional work is completed. In order to get the service up and running as soon as possible, we are taking a phased approach to its features. We will begin with the most important features and introduce enhancements quickly and iteratively. Thereafter, to inform the design and to determine which features to include at the start, we have been engaging extensively with stakeholders through focus groups, industry meetings, and the establishment of a stakeholder-wide FedNow community, and through the more formal public comment process. We are working to finalize a technology strategy that will create a flexible infrastructure, one that is scalable and can evolve with the times. So I just wanted to read a little bit of that. And yes, she talked in the next section is central bank digital currencies. It's a reality, folks. I'm sorry. The Bank for International Settlements in January of the year 2019 released a report where they did a survey of all of the countries in the world that have a central bank. And 80% of those countries came back and said that they are considering creating a central bank digital currency. This is what they said. Now, all of a sudden, here you go. That was a little over a year ago. So we are moving to digital money. Hell, the vast majority of your U.S. dollars digital. I believe I read somewhere where they said that only 10% of our U.S. dollars are in hard currency. Then I mentioned earlier how the Federal Reserve removed the 10% reserve requirement. So again, you can have a bank with a vault with fucking dust on the shelves and somehow they're still giving out loans if you can get one. So this is what it is, folks. I recommend I can provide all of these documents. I'm working on finding a better way to present this stuff. Maybe YouTube, something like that. That way you can see everything I'm reading. And, of course, I'll provide my analysis. But central bank digital currencies are reality. They're talking about XRP, JPM coin, right? Now you got PayPal just put a bunch of money in Bitcoin, and I'm not biased towards crypto. I just understand where things are headed. I know a lot of people don't get it. It's not hard. I can provide documents so you can understand it if that's what you want. But it's not hard. Okay. All of the shit that people will give me about dark web and all this shit, listen, they use your US dollar on that shit too. So I don't want to hear that shit. Again, They've been drug money laundering and all of this other shit with U.S. dollars since the motherfucker existed, because they had opium wars in the 1800s. Okay, go Google opium wars. When even though China said it was illegal, it's funny how Thomas Sutherland and his partners went over to Hong Kong when it was a British colony, and they established what? Hong Kong and Shanghai Bank Corporation. That was back in the early 1800s. Later on, they purchased Midland National Bank out of New York, changed the name to HSBC USA Incorporated. And then we wonder why they got caught in 2019 laundering drug money for Mexican drug cartels and nothing happened to them. Well, it's business as usual. This ain't nothing new. Anyway, all right, folks, just wanted to share that with you. Forgive me for the tangent. Please join us next time. Have a good evening.